Okay, good evening, everybody. This is ECRN now kicking off this evening's cold weekly net. Let's see if anybody is out there. This is Z6IPS standing by. Okay, seems like it's going to be a cold and quiet night. Z6IPS standing by. Okay, 1902. Let's hear if anybody has joined in tonight yet or would like to join in. This is Z6IPS standing by. Okay, second last call for check-ins. Second last call for check-ins. ZS6IPS is standing by. Okay, if anybody's on Hotel 2, just let me know if the audio is okay on WhatsApp quickly, please. I'm just trying to get a microphone position that's comfortable to work with. 1904, and let's see if anybody is out there as yet. This is ZS6IPS standing by. Thanks, John. Thanks, Dirk. Acknowledged. Okay, last call for check-ins on the Rudderport repeater. This is ZS6IPS standing by. Okay, nothing else heard. There we go. Let's get started for the benefit of those that are on the community network as well as for the Zoom recording. Good evening, everybody. Greetings to one and all, and welcome to this week's net. Those wishing to join the net using Zoom it's doom and gloom here with this cold weather. Those wishing to join this net using Zoom may do so now, as Zoom is open. If you do not have the Zoom link, please contact me on WhatsApp 082-859-2684, and I'll send you the link with the greatest of pleasure. Today is Sunday, 25 June 2023, and the time is 19:05. We begin the weekly net with the radio amateur check-ins on the Rudderport repeater for 5 minutes before proceeding. This net is broadcast every Sunday evening starting at 1900 and is broadcast for the benefit of radio amateurs, disaster relief CERT volunteers, and members of the general public. This net is therefore open to all interested parties. Everyone and anyone is welcome to participate using either amateur radio, Zoom, or both. And I'd like to remind all the radio amateurs who have not checked in that you do not need to be a member of any group or club to check in or to use the repeater or any of the amateur radio bands. All that is required from you is that you have a valid amateur radio license issued by ICASA, which automatically grants you the right to use any of the amateur radio bands at any time. There is no need to ask for or be granted permission from anyone to use the repeaters or amateur radio bands. I'd also like to encourage all the listeners and participants to share the Weekly Net Zoom link with everyone they know throughout South Africa. Doing so will help us grow the Weekly Net and will contribute to disseminating information as far and wide as possible. ZS6OPS on a timer clear. Okay, ZS6OPS returning. There we go. Up front, I must just tell everybody that tonight I am flying solo, really. I have not been able to create my script for tonight, 100%, load shedding decided to take out my entire audio-visual studio yesterday. 20,000 Rand PC went out the window. And, of course, I've just spent the last 36 hours rebuilding to a point where I've been able to get Zoom up and running 5 minutes before the net started. So, that being said, let's quickly move on with the unpacking of the COVID-19 figures. Globally, we are this week at 767,518,723. This again, oh no, that's not the right figure. You see now, this is what happens when your script goes out of the window. So basically, our figure this week is nowhere near that. And, of course, I need to try and just get the new figure in quickly. If everybody would just give me a second, I will get it open for you shortly. Okay, there we go. So the actual figure is 767,726,861. That is up this week compared to the previous 3 weeks. This week we saw an increase of 539,000 as opposed to 331,000 in the previous week's figures. So be interesting to know why the figures actually increased. Maybe it could be a reporting issue where they have in actual fact corrected it or adjusted figures. But the confirmed deaths is also higher this week at 6,948,764. That's an increase of 3,000 new deaths being reported globally, as opposed to 1.5 or 1,478 in the previous week. Now, these figures are a lot better compared to what they were in the 2020-2021 time period. So we can be thankful that those figures have in actual fact come down in the manner that they have. Okay, so moving on from our COVID-19, Mpox this week is now standing at 88,060. I think that is also one of the figures now that, unfortunately, as I say, I dropped everything off, and we have to go and see if we can, in actual fact, find the right figures for you on that one as well. Cholera, what I want to do is just remind you yet again that cholera, the NICD has not put any updates out in the last week, unfortunately. It's actually been in the last 3 or 4 weeks where they haven't given us any figures at all. This has been a little bit of a concern all round, although I must admit that the Department of Health this week decided that they were in actual fact going to release figures, and as they stated, 47 deaths in total have been reported for cholera. This is around about the 6th of July, the figures as at the 6th of July. And total number of cholera cases that has now been reported is in the region of 168. Okay, ZS6 OPS returning. The new figure for Mpox is 88,134, and this is as at the 1st of July. This is an increase this week of 162, which again is a lot higher than last week's increase of 88. So globally, we seem to be having a little bit of a shift in terms of the figures that are being reported. COVID going up, Mpox going up. Cholera's figures, unfortunately, as I say, nothing was given since really the 26th of May, somewhere around there, or the 11th of June being the last sort of figures that were released. So cholera was a problem. At least we now know 168 cases. Same thing applies with mumps. Mumps, we are still sitting on 580 cases that have been reported. But again, Department of Health, NICD have not provided any updates on that. And the same applies with diphtheria, where we are still standing on 2 cases. Even the measles figures this week again appear to be skewed. Last week we reported 2 new cases, and this week they've adjusted it to 7. And for for week 26, they now report 3 cases. So this now brings us to 1,108 cases of measles. And of course, Limpopo is still leading the pack at 498,000. Correction, 498 cases. Boy, if it was 498,000, I think we'd all be in trouble. Northwest at half of that, just under half, 217. And Gauteng province, of course, 182. Hopefully these numbers will come down in the coming week or so. Due to school holidays, we just got to make sure that we don't, in actual fact, get any of these cases into the schools, because, I mean, that they will definitely create quite a serious problem for us. Now, I know that I was busy working on setting up the entire script for tonight. That was yesterday morning, just before the power went out. There was one item that I did want to bring in, and I think this is the only item that really worth mentioning if I can find it. Okay, so basically the World Health Organization's report, let me clear the timer. Okay, ZS6 OPS returning. In the World Health Organization report dated 27 June 2023, the World Health Organization stated that this summer will be the first in more than 3 years that many of us will enjoy without the looming threat to COVID-19. Well, that being said, the figures have actually gone up. And besides the COVID-19 sort of affecting us, etc., we also need to consider how COVID-19 has actually exploited the epidemic of diseases, including cancers, cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, chronic lung illness, which account for 75% of mortality in the region today. And this is where the WHO is reiterating the call for more research to develop a comprehensive list or diagnostic and treatment of long COVID. Very little is known about long COVID, unfortunately. And of course, this is something that, I suppose it's like cholera at the end of the day. If you've got any strange or weird symptoms, I know for a fact that many of the reports or calls for assistance that are coming through are definitely calls where patients are finding it very difficult to breathe. One would have found that that would have been a little bit on the strange side. Most people would have known that it's flu, etc. That being the time of year. And of course, us coming out of the peak of the the flu season in South Africa. So a little concerning that countrywide, many calls are going out for patients suffering or complaining of having a difficulty in breathing. And the second factor that I'd like to draw attention to is the number of cases that are being reported or request for assistance being called, whereby patients are complaining of chest pains, potential heart attacks, especially amongst the younger generation. And I'm talking 18, 19, 20-year-olds that are in actual fact complaining of chest pains. And I think COVID-19 is something, long COVID in particular, is something that will have to be seriously investigated and researched over the years to come. Unfortunately, for those of the population that did in actual fact, let me clear the timer. Okay, ZS6OPS returning. I think for those that throughout the world actually that did contract COVID and were officially diagnosed as having contracted COVID, I think a lot of the research and everything else will have to be done on you, making you the guinea pig. And I don't think many people are actually going to be aware of the actual impact that it does have on the human body in the long term. So that being said, when it does come to communicable diseases, one thing that we most definitely have to do and consider at the end of the day is ensure that we still sanitize and wash our hands and practice good health techniques, etc., especially coming out of COVID and following an outbreak of cholera. And as some of you have seen on the news, several of the rivers and dams have been tested. The rivers in particular have been tested or in the process of being tested. And it appears that each and every single one of them is now showing positive results for cholera. So, I mean, as long as it stays in the riverways, that's fine. I think that is something that one, sort of expects worldwide. Cholera is in most of these rivers and channels, etc. But when they come through the waterworks, all of this has to be dealt with before it is pumped into our potable water system or the reticulated water system. So I think we can't let our guard down on any of this. And of course, now with us going into a 50-odd hour water outage in the city of Joburg, that's going to affect the Krugersdorp area as well. I think these are things that all of us have to start looking at in a serious light. We also need to start our planning, our preparing for, further actions such as has been undertaken. And of course, due to the aging system that we have in the country, not just on the electrical, but on the water grid as well, or the water system as well, I think this is something that's going to impact us. Okay, ZS6OPS returning. Apologies for coughing there on the community network. At the end of the day, this does become a problem all round. And as I say, I think this is really the time where all of us have to start our planning and preparing properly and start looking at how it is that we are going to be able to reach out and assist other people moving forward. And so in closing, basically, there's nothing else that I can report on at the moment. All of the documents that I did have open that I was going to share some general information on naturally were not recovered. Well, not naturally, but unavoidably were not recovered. And I'm going to bring the net to a close tonight. And I'd like to just encourage everyone to register as a disaster relief cert volunteer, and of course to prepare and train to assist local communities for when disaster strikes. So let's have a look. Radio amateurs who have not yet checked in, please provide your call sign now, and I'll add you to this week's check-in list. ZS6OPS standing by.
Hi there, Chad.
Hello, Adrian.
I'm not, the radios is not a switch on, so I'm not going to call in.
It's all right, not a problem. Okay, nobody else checked in except for ZS6SNY, who did join tonight on Zoom. He might have been late, but that's okay. I'll give him a pass on this one, considering he's probably still trying to recover from driving up from Cape Town in the last 48 hours. Okay, I'd like to thank all of those who have checked in this week, as well as those who joined via Zoom. And especially those who have just participated by listening, both on the community radio network as well as on the radio amateur repeater as well. As the COVID-19 pandemic is still ongoing and still infecting thousands weekly, please remember to physically distance yourself and to wear a mask to protect others, especially the elderly who could lose their lives if infected with COVID-19. Remember that it's always best to sanitize or wash your hands on a regular basis in any event, and doing so will also assist in stopping the spread of other respiratory diseases as well. And, you know, not just respiratory diseases, but if you look at things like diphtheria, measles, mumps, and, of course, cholera, all of those diseases could, in actual fact, the chain could be broken just by one person sanitizing their hands. So for the week moving forward, be safe, be prepared, and of course be happy. This is ZS6 OPS, now releasing the Rudderpert repeater for general use. Cheers all. Okay, give me a minute. I need to take off my sophisticated PTT rubber band so that I can
PTT
say
repeater.
Yeah, so that I can say thank you to everybody on Hotel 2 who listened in tonight. Appreciate it, and hope to catch you next week, same place, same time. Thanks very much. This is Echo 1 now monitoring Hotel 1 and Hotel 2. Please don't forget to switch back to Hotel 1 in the interim. Cheers all.
Just landed, yeah, and just came back from Pretoria. It was my daughter-in-law's birthday due also this afternoon. So that's why I was late. Sorry, man.
Don't worry, I almost ended up doing this net via my tablet. I mean, my PC, I pulled it out, everything, you know, I broke my PC down, I bolted into my console. I had to pull the whole thing out yesterday, just refused point blank to start up. Fortunately, I did have a backup going back, well, not far back, funny enough. I think last week, I had a backup that I had just done. So I restored it on the Lenovo. You know, when Carl's PC started to play up in, when was it, 2019, 2020, I bought him a Lenovo, and then I bought myself one as a backup, and fortunately that I did, because I pulled that out the cupboard at 12 o'clock or 10 past 12, did the restore, and then, my USB ports didn't work, Adrian, did I have shit? Fortunately, I kept some PS2 keyboards.
Yeah.
What was strange is under the one recovery profile that I had, if I can put it to you that way, or backup that I restored from, the USB ports worked fine. But that one went back to last year or the year before. It was a basic setup. It wasn't my new one. Holy shit, China, did I battle. I worked until after 1 last night. And then I got up this morning, and of course, you know, now I'm worried about what I'm going to do. And I sat here and I started playing, and I started to do the backups, and some of my data was on the local drive. Some of it was on the server drive. And so I got all of that going, and then I sat and I just prayed, and I started working. And I thought, let me go and try every single one of these USB drivers. And there's the one for Intel, doesn't work. Intel doesn't work. Intel, permission not granted. Intel, no, it doesn't work. Microsoft worked. All my USB ports came up. And then we went off at 4 o'clock. So fortunately, I cooked lunch or supper, and I had an early supper like just before 4. And after 6, when the power came on, I sat here and I thought, no, let's see what happens now. And I plugged in the camera, and then my camera is up, and I plugged in my sound card, and my sound cards come up. And 5 minutes later, I started the check-ins on Hotel 1.
You were cutting it fine.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't even get to do my storyboard. What I did here was, when I saw my camera came up, I quickly went to go and find the World Health site. And I opened my spreadsheet up, and I started to capture my data and move my data around and give me my historical, previous week. I haven't gone back. I haven't kept a record week on week. And then, of course, I forgot to open up the inbox page, and I got the wrong figures, and I reported on the wrong figures. And I was working, I wasn't reading off the script at all. And I'm just having a look. It looks like my video camera quality is even better on this PC than the other one.
Yeah, no, it looks, from what I can see, yeah, it looks, it really, my local camera compared, I think your image is more crisp than my video image, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what cameras of mine have come up yet. No, they aren't up yet. Listen, I had a very good meeting last weekend with some of the residents associations and that in the area.
Okay.
But only 6 of them came up of the 20-odd that I invited. And of course, now yesterday and today I lost the plot. I couldn't get them to do anything else because I didn't have a PC. And then I've opened up that CK water relief group now to the entire city of Joburg and Magal City, so that we can share relevant information if need be with regards to this damned water outage. So
Yeah.
you must join the group and come up on it, especially, you get the info on your other groups that side. You can share it on this side so everybody's aware of what's happening.
Okay. Oh. This driving for so many hours actually takes a bit of a toll on one's body. I'm not going to go to bed early because tomorrow it's again back to work.
Yeah, I was going to...
Whole week's worth of income, yeah.
What, that you lost when you went down there?
Remember, I only get paid for the hours that I produce.
Yeah.
But it was a good trip, and it had a good outcome with the little dogs that found a house, and a home. And so, yeah, it's all worth it.
Yeah, you're talking about dogs and that. Yeah, the politics on this Constantia Kloof group is crazy, eh?
Hey, people, when you put, we have always been joking, if you put the 2 Afrikaans people together, you immediately get 3 churches and 4 political parties.
Well, now you're talking about political parties. My co-administrator who actually created the groups in the last 2-3 years, it doesn't play an active role at all. And as Rory says, the guy's, I don't know, he's got no, his mind doesn't work. We don't know what's going on with him, old Rudolph. And
Okay.
I think his nose is red because it's been stuck up somebody else's arse all the time, eh? I mean, what are the names of all the reindeer besides Rudolph? Yeah, I can't remember. Prancer's one of them, so he might have been prancing around with Prancer. I don't know. But like now today, he says, yeah, no, he's just noticed a new hole. Yeah, Yabamik, Beverly North and Christian de Wet. And he's sure that now these people are digging holes so that they can get to work.
Oh, conspiracy theorist.
So I sent a message back there. I replied to his message. I said, well, put it on Councillor Leonard's escalation group so that she can take it up with council. Oh, no, he's not a DA. He's not on the group. So I sent him the link. So he replies, no, I'm not a DA supporter.
What the fuck? Yeah.
And, you know, she never marked the group as DA or anything. She just said Ward 89 escalation group.
This councillor on our side here is a DA councillor, Jaco Holzhausen. Gee, that guy's grafting, like hell. Everything, every street light that you guys report, he actually takes it up with the municipality and things like that. He's really grafting, that guy.
Yeah, well, it's like Christian's son, Christian Finn, ZS6 CPF, Councillor Caleb Flynn.
Yeah.
Dude, he's active on the emergency medical services groups. He works all fucking night, every night. Eh?
Yeah.
Leah's a bit slow sometimes, but if we escalate, she actually pushes the shit through, I must admit.
Yeah.
Eh?